I don't think a lot of us who actively create content realize just how different of a game we are playing compared to the biggest names in our space. And I want to give you a few examples.
Marketing is about values.
Nike didn't call me and sell me this in a catalog. I bought this swoosh because it's ingrained in my soul.
When you have a product that really resonates with customers, the word of mouth grows like wildfire.
Welcome to the MarketingMax show. Now, let's dive in.
All right, welcome to the first solo episode of the MarketingMax show. I'm super excited to record this for you guys today, and I'm hoping that this show ends up becoming 50% solo episodes like this one and 50% guest interviews, because I think one of the major things that has helped me grow my Twitter audience to 40,000 subscribers, which I know in the grand scheme of things is nothing, but 40,000 is pretty meaningful to me. In order for me to get there, one of the major things that I think has helped propel this growth was me creating this culture around the moment I have something interesting to say, I open up Twitter and I tweet it. If it's business related, sometimes if it's life related. And I think this solo episode opportunity gives me the opportunity, if my words make sense. This solo episode opportunity gives me the opportunity to expand on some of those random thoughts that come in my head, because I'm a talker and I can talk about things forever. So this is my first shot at it. If you love it, if you hate it, I would really, really, really appreciate you taking literally 10 seconds to open up Twitter, find me on Twitter at MarketingMax, or X as we call it now. Find me on Twitter, find me on X as at MarketingMax, and DM me. You love it, you hate it. If you're 20 seconds into this and you're like, this is awful, pull up Twitter and DM me. Let me know. I want to know if you love it, what you love about it. I want to know if you hate it, the topic, the editing, how my voice sounds. Please, please, please give me feedback, good, bad, and ugly. I'm all ears, but I'm really excited to record this for you guys today. So the first solo episode I'm titling, They're Playing a Different Game. This comes on the precipice of this guy named Stephen Bartlett, who just hit 3 million followers on YouTube for his video podcast. It's called The Diary of a CEO. I checked out this podcast extensively before starting this podcast, the MarketingMax show, because I've heard so many people say that it's awesome. And after watching 4 or 5 different episodes, I can tell you that the editing, the questions Stephen asks, the guests that he chooses to have on, it's an absolute A+ home run every single time. I would say if there's a Michelin star guide of podcasts, this deserves 3 stars. This is a 3-star Michelin star podcast by far. This thing is absolutely amazing. It feels like I'm watching an HBO edited and produced show, and it's literally just free on YouTube and on Spotify. After listening to 4 or 5, I would say my favorite episode is the one with Dame Dash. He's the guy that discovered Jay-Z and Kanye. And I love it for so many reasons, but it really touches on everything from spirituality to business strategy to industry changes, family, legacy. It just touches on so many things that I love. So if you get one thing from this, definitely go check out that Dame Dash episode. If you like things that I talk about on Twitter or things that I talk about in this podcast, you'll love the Dame Dash episode of The Diary of a CEO. But the reason I bring this up, and the reason that this is the topic of today's solo episode, is because in celebration of Stephen Bartlett hitting 3 million followers for his YouTube video podcast, he shared a bunch of insights about the podcast. And I thought a few of them were interesting, particularly one, but I'll start with a few. First off, it took him 6 months to hit 10,000 YouTube followers, but they added 1 million YouTube followers in the last 90 days. So there is absolutely a compounding effect at scale. We see this with Justin Welsh growing his Twitter account. I think like 3 or 4 months ago, he was at 320,000 followers. Now he's at 450,000 followers, or plus or minus. And that all happened, in just a few months. So we definitely see this compounding growth scale, hockey stick growth scale, I should say. And I just think that's amazing and something that a lot of us who are just getting started in our content creation journey forget about, is these guys and gals are adding, hundreds of thousands of subscribers a week once they get to a certain point. So I thought that was really interesting. The other thing that I think is really awesome is that his audience is pretty evenly split, 50% male, female. And I just love that, because so much business content and marketing content are dudes talking to dudes. So I love that he's having a bunch of female guests on, and his audience is 50-50 male-female. But out of all the things that he shared on his Twitter thread about reaching 3 million YouTube followers, I have to say the thing that stuck out to me most is that the team he has to produce, edit, and distribute his show is 30 people deep. And he has identical studios in London, New York, and LA. And he says the reason for that is he doesn't want viewers to know where he is, or he doesn't want to take away from the context and the content of each episode by being able to say, oh, he's in London and this guest happens to be in London at the same time, or he's in LA. He has identical studios in London, New York, and LA. And out of the 5 videos I watched, I couldn't tell a difference between the two, but I'm sure someone on YouTube has gone and maybe taken screenshots and found Easter eggs in each one. But I thought that was so interesting. He's got 30 people that produce, edit, and distribute his show, and then he has identical studios in London. Now, I don't know if those 30 people are full-time, but this is the thing that really hit home for me, because I don't think a lot of us who actively create content realize just how different of a game we are playing compared to the biggest names in our space. And I want to give you a few examples. Number 1, Alex Hormozi. This dude has shot up in the last 2 or 3 years. He's created tons of content on YouTube talking about how he's shot up and become what seems like an overnight viral success. But in a few of his episodes in his podcast and on his YouTube channel, he says that he spends $90,000 a month on his organic content. And if you watch a lot of his content, and if you're kind of in the space, you'll see that he actually hired a guy away from Gary Vee to work for his personal brand. So you can kind of put some pieces together, put the dots together, and see that he has at least 5 full-time people on staff. From what I found on LinkedIn, all of them are in the States. And it would make sense, right? Given their salaries and the tools that they have to spend and the hosting for all of the video footage that they have, that they spend $90,000 a month to create all of this organic content. In fact, in one of his videos, he brags about how he spends $90,000 a month to create all of this organic content. But if he was to go out and pay for Facebook ads or TV commercials to get the same amount of impressions, it would cost him double or triple that. So Alex Hormozi spends $90,000 a month on organic content. It helps him create 120 pieces of unique content every single week. That is mind-blowing. That's not like firing off one-off tweets. I don't even do 120, but that's not firing off one-off tweets. That's posting 4 videos a day to TikTok, 4 videos a day to Instagram, $90,000 a month. Okay. Codie Sanchez, who I think recently hit 1 million followers on YouTube, or sorry, on Instagram. I know firsthand she has a team of highly paid ghostwriters that are like $5,000 to $10,000 a month. And then I know that she has a few full-time stateside people doing her video editing. I heard this about 6 months ago from a friend that travels in circles with her. So she's absolutely spending 6 figures a year on her organic content. And then the GOAT, the king of all kings, Gary Vee, or I should say the king of all content creator kings, Gary Vee, he has 25 full-time people stateside just working on his personal brand and content creation alone. That is 7 figures a year, at least $1 million a year he spends on his personal brand just to create content. So maybe it's not that we're playing a different game than them, because we're all in the content creating game, right? Like I write threads every week on Twitter, I post Instagrams, I create this podcast. It might not be that we're playing a different game, because we're all in the content creation game. We're all trying to grow our personal brands or our company brands in some way, shape, or form with content creation. But I would say that we're playing in different leagues. And I'm really not a baseball guy, but baseball is a perfect analogy here. These people are playing with major league salary caps. They have $100 million in the analogy of baseball analogy to spend on their team, on their content distribution, on their strategy, on everything. Personally, if they're playing with major league salary caps, I feel like I have Division III scholarship money. Even with the minimal success I've had selling my agency and everything else, I feel like I'm playing with Division III scholarship money. And I think it's really important for a lot of us content creators who are trying to grow our following in any way, shape, or form to recognize that we're playing a different game, or in the very least, we're playing in different leagues. Our goal should not necessarily be to go viral. It's totally okay that we're not spending more than $1 million a year on our content like Gary Vee is. That's totally fine. Our goal, again, should not be to go viral, but or if it is, that's totally fine too. But our goal is not necessarily to become famous. right? Our goal is to have some sort of business outcome. And so long as we remember that our target outcomes are different, our target goals are different than Gary Vee and Codie Sanchez and Alex Hormozi and Stephen Bartlett, we're still going to be totally fine. So long as we keep our North Star intact and recognize that our North Star is completely different from their North Star, we will find success, we will be fulfilled in our journeys, and we will have fun doing it. It always looks easier than it is. And I've caught myself multiple times in the last year trying to study Gary Vee or Alex Hormozi and their content style. But what I realized was at the end of the day, if I don't have the resources they do, I'm playing in a different league than they are. And so my business goals are not necessarily to have a huge audience like Alex Hormozi or to have a huge audience like Gary Vee. My goal in creating content is different from theirs. I've written it down. I keep it to the left side of my laptop, and I keep that as my North Star all the time. So maybe this solo episode is a little woo-woo. Maybe it's a little inspirational. But like I said earlier, if you love it, if you hate it, please open up Twitter, open up X, find me at MarketingMax and DM me if you liked this type of content. If you didn't like this type of content, I'm going to be doing more like this. A few of the next solo episodes will be growth hacks, growth marketing tips, not necessarily a perspective or a take or some inspiration like this is, but would love your feedback on it. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to read my tweets, check out my newsletter, listen to this podcast. It means the world to me, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Make sure to follow and subscribe. See you soon. Thanks for listening to the Marketing Max show. It takes me and my team hours to produce it every single week. But it only takes you 15 seconds to hit that share button and text it to a friend, drop it in a Slack group, or share it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or any of your favorite social platforms. I appreciate you taking the time to check out my content. Have an awesome day.